What's up, YouTube? Today we're gonna do something different. I'm gonna ride, but instead of a regular outdoor ride, we're gonna do an indoor fitness test. I've done functional threshold power tests. I've worked with a power meter for about 2 years. This is the start of the 2018 season. This is gonna be my baseline for the season. And we're gonna see what we can do for my training for my more important races later on in the season based off this baseline. I'm gonna start racing in about 2 weeks in Fontana. I think January 13th. Not a high priority race, just for me to get my racing legs back underneath me. The first really important race, or the one that's important to me anyway, is going to be out in St. George, Utah, the True Grit Epic, and that's in March. I've actually got some footage from times I've been there before. I'll put a link to some of those clips, and you can check out some of the trails. They're pretty incredible. You should go to that race if you could. Anyway, off topic. So we're gonna do a test today to give me my baseline, and we're going to use the new Sufferfest 4DP test to figure that out. So it's called Full Frontal because they have cool names, and what it's going to do is basically give me a baseline on their 4 elements of power. It's functional threshold, I think 5-minute power, anaerobic. I don't know, we'll look at the breakdown afterwards, but that's what we're doing today. So that's going to be super painful. And maybe we'll learn some things. You can check out what it's like and see if it works for you. So before we do that, we need to do some prep. I gotta get the training room set up. That's what happens when you try to film outside. I'm gonna get the room ready and we'll drink some more fluids and get it going. So I'm gonna need all the help I can get. So let's check this out. This will hopefully help me go through the tough stuff. Okay, so I've been using Carbo Rocket products for a long time. This Rocket Red is pretty incredible. It's a pre-race, pre-workout superfood. So it's got beetroot, tart cherry, pomegranate. You get a little tingly after about 15 minutes after drinking it, so it's doing something. Anyway, it's good stuff. We're gonna do this about a half hour before the test. And maybe it'll buy me a couple watts here and there. All right, let's go set the room up. We've got the room set up, bike's ready to go, trainer's ready to go. If you've never set this up before, or you're curious about how this works, we've got a Wahoo Kicker power trainer, so that hooks up through Bluetooth to the iPad, which is where we'll run Sufferfest from. So everything's basically controlled from the app. I don't have to do anything except suffer, pedal, and be in pain. So there's that, which is nice. Okay, so before we jump into it, let's take a look at some of the data that we already have through Strava and Training Peaks. So let's jump in here and let's start with Strava. So let's take a look at my fitness and freshness. So we can see that my form looks like it's up. It's about 8 right now. Fitness isn't really where I want it, but again, we're just trying to get a baseline. So I'm not too fatigued. This should go well there. If I look at my power curve, and we go ahead and show estimated FTP, the dark purple, or the darker purple, is the last 6 weeks. So we can see my curve there, and it gives me an estimated FTP of about 215. Be interesting to see how that compares to what the test does. If we switch over to Training Peaks, again, we can see kind of this taper off I've had to get rested up. Let's go to the dashboard. Again, let's see, the 29th. My form is 7, fitness is 33, fatigue is 23. So overall, I'm mostly rested. Just to keep in mind what comes from the 4DP stuff, we're saying that my 5-second power is around 828 watts or so. 1 minute, I've got a whole spread here. I'm gonna call the average around 350, 360 for 1 minute. The 5 minute, we're looking between the 260s and 280s, it looks like. 272, 242. Okay, so we'll call that 260. 20 minute, 222, 232. So around that FTP range, I'm thinking. or actually above the FTP range. And then at 60 minute, which really is FTP range, were really pretty low. So if I look at this, I think that that number within Strava is actually pretty close. I imagine that I'm going to hit between 220 and 225, or I'm hoping, for my FTP, and we'll see what those other numbers are. All right, let's get to it. In the kit, that's set up, ready to go. Nothing left to do but do it. Whew. What's up, YouTube? Okay, so got cleaned up, got something to eat. So yeah, that was hard. Let's go over a few things. So we did, I'm still tired. We did sprints, we did 2 sprints to figure out the maximal power. Then we did a 5-minute test, a 20-minute test, and a 1-minute test. And it all kind of panned out the way that I thought it would. My VO2 max is a little low, which doesn't surprise me given the training I've got. It's just a really good baseline, I think, for the season coming up. So some cool things about the app is once I was done, it gave me some recommendations for specific workouts to work on the VO2 max, and then specific workouts to work on my strengths, which had identified my 1-minute power as a strength and my ability to recover, which I think it got off of doing the 1-minute power after the FTP test. And that 20-minute FTP test was rough. The last 2 minutes of that, I really was just like dealing with a side stitch. I was gearing up, gearing down, trying to change my cadence, trying to keep the power at a level that I could just maintain through there. So I gave what I had for FTP. I mean, I gave what I had for everything. So yeah, it's interesting stuff. It gave me a rider type of attacker, which is new to me. I always thought I was a climber. So it's the first time I've had to put the trainer into level mode instead of ERG mode. And I'm sure you saw in the video I was having to go through and change the levels. Because I've never messed with it in the levels. So if you're going to do it on your own, what I recommend is before you do the full frontal, go in and do one of the other rides in Sufferfest at the level setting, because it goes 0 through 9, and figure out which level kind of gives you that middle road, so you can go easy but also go hard. When it started, it was on level 0, which was too easy. I would have never been able to spin up or put real power down for the sprint. And then level 5 was too hard. I couldn't recover. I couldn't I couldn't spin in between the stuff. So that's a pro tip. Make sure you know what your level is before you try to do this test. So yeah, that's it. We'll take some of the recommended trainings that it gave me over the next 10 weeks. We'll do a video on training plans. I'm terrible at training plans, but we're gonna try it this year, get a little more structure in there. So in about 10 or 12 weeks, we'll do that test again, and we'll see where the numbers lie. One of the other things that I thought was dope was after I was done, and I looked back at the other workouts, it customized the workouts to my new ranges, and you can see those ranges in the workouts. So that's pretty cool. So that's it for the day. Tell me what you thought of this video. If you liked it, subscribe, comment on it, why you liked it, and then smash that like button. Hit me up on my other socials. You can get me on Instagram and Twitter at Eric P. Hansen. I take a lot of pictures of bikes and stuff and put them on Instagram. I think you'll like them. That's it. Until next video. Peace, YouTube.